All right, what's going on, people around the world? Appreciate y'all stopping by here for a Locker Room Extra. Glad you could want to spend a little bit of part of your day with me. I'm the host with the most here. Big Matt Diamond Dean is out on location. They got a game tonight. So we're going to talk about some college football. It is Tuesday night. It's college football talk. Tuesday's gone with the wind, as they say. Well, first off, I guess we could start off with talking about the Florida State cinnamon rolls. I guess they've played their way right out of the playoffs, maybe. Have they? I don't know. I got their game pulled up over here. Florida State cinnamon rolls. I've just never it's been a long time, I guess, since you just literally just watch the team completely fall apart right on the field right in front of you. DJ throws for 272, 27.4. His QB already is 21 for 42. Your big rusher, your big saving grace, and man that can do it all. Roydell Williams has 3 carries for 10 yards. Transfer from Alabama. And also Benson, he had 3 catches for 33 yards, 19 on the long. And defensively, Riley and DJ Lundy and also Brown were some of your tackle leaders. 28-13 was the final score last night. And honestly, Florida State was kind of lucky to even really get 13. If there's anybody that's got a hot seat in the state of Florida, it's definitely not Cristobal. After watching them play, Miami come in and took care of business against Florida, just about like probably what we kind of assumed. We thought Florida may be able to, put together a game plan and go down there and get after them, and it being at the Swamp, but Florida had no chance. So I think that probably – thank you, Florida State coach. I think he's the one on hot seat. I ain't got to beat around the bush about it. Winning in big games that he's won. Let's see. I'm trying to look at some of his record here. Coach Norvell. He has, let's see, games won here. I like to look at some of these. He's 31-19 record overall as a coach. I don't know. When is it time to say when? And I put out something last night about DJU, and I've got a lot of comments on it. And there's a lot of Florida State fans, and they're not being crazy. They're being realistic that, sometimes those guys just miss, these guys that grade players, and DJ come out showed him as what's up, Zach? Showed DJ coming out as a top prospect, and he was in that class with Bryce and some of those other guys. And I don't know if, is he the kind of guy that can hang on and he can, make an adjustment. And I've tried to take up for him and, make excuses or, do those kind of things. And I'm just not, I can't, I'm not a hater of Florida State or nothing. I used to actually have Florida State jackets, back in the day. But, what else can he do? What are some other things that he can, try to do as a quarterback we've seen him play at Clemson, then he transferred, and let's see right here. He was in the class with Bryce and CJ Stroud. 5-star kid, pro-style quarterback, and he played St. John Bosco. That's a big, fancy, nice school out in California. If you guys keep up with high school football, spend a few minutes and go look up St. John Bosco. Fantastic players. 6'4", 246 pounds, number 10 in the nation, coming out of St. John Bosco. And right behind him was C.J. Stroud, nationally ranked 42, and then Bryce Young was nationally ranked second quarterback, first in state out there in California. Of course, he played at Mater D, and then CJ played at Rancho Cucamonga. All high prominent schools, and I had some interesting conversation with Dalvin George. I used to watch Devlin. He does some picks and stuff on games and that kind of stuff. And, these 7-on-7 camps, some guys don't get to go to camps. And there's some comments about, they don't always get it right. And they don't always get them right. But most of the time they do on a 5-star. You just don't – there's just not a lot of 5-stars that just bust, I don't know what to think about him. I don't know. I mean, what else? I mean, what is else there to say? 21 for 42. Though 42 passes, he graded out as like a 24. That's crazy. And then we'll move on to some of our key highlight games. Got a lot of games to talk about. When I had to talk about Florida State, I'm just kind of, I'm just really surprised. I mean, look, man, we talked about them this summer a couple of times, and they got some good offensive weapons. They got some good football players. Offensive line was supposed to be pretty solid. They flipped a guy from Bama, Roy Dale, their starter. I mean, he's got like 50 yards rushing in 2 games. Why does Roy Dale why did he run the ball 3 times? Why? He's supposed to be your guy. The Cam Davis kid had 11 yards rushing. I'm glad that Alabama didn't get Norvell. Coach Norvell I guess it's easy to coach a team, and we'll move on. It's easy to coach a team that's got a lot of good players. And he took responsibility for it and he owned it. But after that crap that happened last year, all the guys bailed out and didn't play in the Georgia game. And, well, by God, if we don't play for the title, we ain't doing – there's no real loyalty, I guess, hardly in football anymore at all. But that just kind of broke the back for me. And, they was going to have to play their second-team quarterback. And, they get pretty much handled. They played Louisville. They're not winning that game. It's not going to make – I mean – there's just no excuse. You say, well, you never know. Yes, we do. You can watch the game and see how the game turned out. So Florida State dumps another one. They're 0-2, 28-13. And let's go here and look at the new because as of the other night, A&M and Notre Dame played and LSU and USC game. What'd y'all think about that game? Coach Kelly crapped the bed at LSU. He just did. They can't finish the games. I don't know. I don't understand there was a 3rd down and LSU's going down the right side of the screen over there. And they roll out in the end zone. They're on like the 10 or something. And he just throws it in the dirt. Dude walks in. I mean, I think it would have tied the game up. Because Miller Moss is a good quarterback. On the Ultimate Team on the NCAA 25 football game, I bought his card the other night and used him some. And I mean, he's good. But the Branch kid, yeah, at USC is just ungodly. He's from one of them fancy schools. I think he's from St. John or from Bosco out there. Elite, super elite high school. If you want to look at the best high schools in the country, Shamadana Madonna is usually one of them. Duncanville, where Keelan Russell, Alabama's quarterback, I think they're number 3 or 4 on the list right now. Cocoa, that's another big time team. Mater D, and of course IMG. USC's got some good players. So LSU, they just can't finish. So let's look over here on the screen. I appreciate y'all for coming by here. This is the new top 25. Let's look at it together here. And just to show you here, this is as of today. How demoralizing was this loss to Florida State? It just was, man. That quarterback, he did a job on them. They run that option play, and, man, they just couldn't do nothing with him. He would run out there around the end and keep the ball, and he was just ripping them for 20 yards a play nearly. All right, so after week 1 games featuring 2 ranked opponents, Carson Beck had 278 yards passing and touchdown, while Georgia's defense had Clemson to just 188 total yards. You got Georgia 1, Ohio State 2. Former 5-star recruit Jeremiah Smith caught 2 touchdown passes. He's the first Buckeyes receiver with 2 receiving scores and a debut since Michael Willie, 96. They play Western Michigan. Number 3, Texas defeated Colorado State 52-0. Not most of these games are just kind of glorified practices. So, you can take it with a grain of salt. And next week, this is the game. We're going to talk about it for sure. Saturday big noon game on Fox is Texas will be at Michigan. I'm fixing to talk about it. Number 4 coming in here on the top 5. Alabama beat Western Kentucky 63-0. We talked about that Sunday. They allowed 150 yards total offense from Western Kentucky, and TJ Finley winds up throwing 2 or 3 picks. Quarterback Jalen Milroe accounted for 3 passing scores and 2 rushing touchdowns. He had 200 passing and 100 rushing. And they will play South Florida Saturday night on ESPN. And hanging around in the top 5, I don't understand. Please hit the comment. Just to give me a reason. I mean, if y'all can give me a half good reason, maybe you make a believer out of me. Why Notre Dame? It's like they do it on purpose. Like they know what the schedule is. They know who Notre Dame's going to play, and they pump that team up, and they build them up a year in advance. They even got a new coach. They got a whole new staff. And A&M's not ready. They're not a top 20 team. Notre Dame shouldn't even be in the top 10. I've seen them play, and watching them play, I just don't see it. I think they can hang in there. So, this is pretty much saying Notre Dame can beat anybody. I don't think Notre Dame could beat Ole Miss. So Notre Dame overtakes A&M. We talked about that. 23-13. It's Notre Dame's first win on the road against a ranked SEC team since defeating Tennessee in 2004. And they'll play Northern Illinois on NBC at 3:30. Ole Miss come in at 6, took care of business. Jackson Dart, 418 yards. I think he had like 250 like in the first quarter nearly, not 220 yards or something. I mean, just crazy. Video game numbers. Jackson Dart had 418 yards at the first half. It's the most in a half in Ole Miss history, and also the most in a half of an SEC game in the last 20 years. They'll play Middle Tennessee at 4:15 on SEC Network. That'll be a better game. Middle Tennessee's pretty good. Shout out Slade Alexander, Cherokee County's finest. Known him long time, and maybe he'll get to play. Y'all be looking out for Slade. Maybe he'll get to play some. It's that 7. Oregon now. Wow, 24-14 over Idaho. Oregon is now 20-0 against FCS opponents since 1978, which, I mean, you're supposed to be. The Ducks were beating FCS opponents by an average of 43 points per game, which they didn't here. And they play Boise State, another. Boise's not bad, man. You may get the same kind of score, honestly. Boise State and Oregon. Penn State, I think they're a pretty good football team. West Virginia, they pumped him up a little bit. McAfee went out there and did a show, and got everybody excited. He's from there. And even got Saban to buy in on a little bit, and they beat West Virginia 34-12. Penn State had 2 scores of 40 or more yards against West Virginia. The Nittany Lions had 3 such scores all of last season. So they play Bowling Green, another trash games. There's 10 games I got on here, and I'm going to probably just mention 6 of them, just tell you what games that I like. Coming at number 9, Missouri Hey, they recorded a shutout in a season opener for the first time since 1998. So shout out to them. And coming in at 10 here, finishing in top 10 last week at 9, Michigan. Fresno State, they take care of business 30-10. No, it's not a pretty win, but new team, new staff, new players, new plays. It's a little bit of a different team. Michigan had just 89 yards of offense in the first half. It's the fewest yards of the Wolverines in the first half since 2016. They will play, we're going to talk about Texas at noon. Now, the rest of them, you got Utah at 11, Miami at 12. I like to have them probably at 10. I could probably swap Miami and Michigan. Really, really like Cam Ward. 385 passing yards, most in a Miami season opener since Ja'Cory Harris threw for 386 in 2009. They'll play Florida A&M. USC, 13. Tennessee takes care of business over Chattanooga, 69-3. They're at 15. Oklahoma, 15. Tennessee was 14. Oklahoma, 15. Oklahoma State. That game – but I knew coming in, I mentioned that game, and I said, hey, guys, let me tell you, the Jackrabbits, South Dakota State, they're a quality school, man. The Dakotas, go out there and all these high school teams I mentioned earlier, they're all out that way. There's a lot of good high school ball out there in California, and these guys, they can't – there's so many, they can't all go to Georgia and Alabama and LSU and Notre Dame or whatever. They're going to go to these other schools. So South Dakota State, good team. This is Oklahoma State's 15th straight game, holding an FCS opponent to 7 or fewer points at the half. See, they got Arkansas, which I'm going to talk about that. Arkansas will go to play out there at Oklahoma State. Kansas State 17. LSU drops from 13 to 18. Losing 27-20. LSU has lost 5 straight season openers. They're tied for the longest streak in school history from 91 to 95. Brian Kelly has lost 3 consecutive openers for the first time since 04, 5, and 6 when he was at Central Michigan. They'll play Nichols, which is a small little school there in state. I've looked at that place. It'll be on ESPN+. Kansas Jayhawks at 19, breaking in the top 20. They beat Lindenwood 48-3 like they should. Not a big deal. They'll play Illinois. Arizona at 20. Hey, this old boy Hill, McMillan, 304 receiving yards are the most single game in Arizona history. He's the third player in FBS history to have 300 or more yards receiving in a team season opener as he marks his second most Big 12 in history. West Virginia's Terrence Williams had 314 in 2012. They'll play North Arizona at 10. Boring game. Keep an eye on these guys. Now, we had them I think we had Arizona at 20 or 21. They got some playmakers. We felt like they could be a dangerous team looming around in that bottom, from 15 down. They could hang around there and win some game. Iowa, some people are still kind of a little high on Iowa. 40 points were the most it scored of offense since 2021. They win 40-0 over Illinois. Good win. Okay. Some people had them in their top 25. We like Kentucky to be in our top 25. When I said West Virginia and we were wrong, I don't know what happened there. Vanderbilt, hey man, look, I'm going to pull from SEC. Way to pull the horn out there and go Commodores and row the boat and whatever y'all doing, man. Keep it up because you're going to need all the momentum, all the luck that you can get because Vanderbilt's schedule it's not get any easier. Okay, so they got Iowa State there. Iowa does. Louisville Cardinals play Jacksonville State. I mentioned this game, so we can talk about it now. They beat Austin Peay 62-0. Why is Louisville piddle farting around in these lower, kind of new FBS and FCS? Tyler Strott's the first Cardinal quarterback since Lamar Jackson in 2016 out 4 passing touchdowns in a season opener. He's special. This kid right here, we'll click on his picture. Go look him up. Had a big game. 211 yards, 75% completion percentage, 232 yards against non-conference games, 4 touchdowns, 18 for 24, 232, man. Hey, look him up. Good football player. Georgia Tech, rambling wreck. and a heck of an engineer, breaking in the top 25 at 23. They'll play Syracuse Saturday at 24. The Wolfpack, coming in here 1-0. They beat not easily Western Carolina. I did go back and rewatch that game. A lot of these first games, and I can speak from, around here, seeing a lot of teams playing first games. I think some teams were just, they got all the ability to win the game. They just get a little unfocused, man. They get a little rattled and thinking about the wrong stuff. And that's what can happen. You can lose a game. Jordan Waters, boy, keep your eye on this guy. 6 foot, 215 pounds, perfect. Just a perfect fit. Last year, 819 yards rushing last year. We talked about him. I've talked about him earlier in the year. 2 rushing touchdowns, 123. He's a good football player. I'll go check him out. Jordan Waters. He's from up there too. And Concepcion, they really, really rely on him a lot. They really do. He's a sophomore, so you got him this year and next year. He was electric last year, 9 receptions, 121 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's from Charlotte up there. Keep an eye on this young man as the year goes on. Concepcion, they will be playing Tennessee at Charlotte at a neutral site. We're going to look into that game a little bit. Tennessee fans, I guess you could be careful. They got some really great skill players, and they're not bad up front. They had a whole video on them. They're good enough to mess some people's day up. You know what I mean? If North Carolina State's one of the teams, you let them hang around, just keep messing around and piddling and hanging around, they'll mess you up, man. You can have a bad day, like just in a minute. And you don't even know what's going on, and you're down 14-0, and there you are. Okay, let's finish this here. We'll move on. That was the top 25. Clemson fighting Schwennies. I think I may have, what did I say? 36-6, 36-13. That's about what we figured. Kirby's going to have his team ready. They're going to play defense. The last time Clemson failed to score a touchdown in a game was 21 season opener when the Tigers lost to Georgia 10-3. They'll play App State Saturday night on the ACC network at 8 o'clock. So keep an eye on them, and your top dogs here. Teams that could be moving around could be right now if the playoffs break down. Miami 12, going backwards. Utah 11, Michigan, Mizzou, Penn State, Ducks at 7, Ole Miss 6, Notre Dame at 5, Alabama 4, Texas Longhorns at 3, Ohio State 2, and Georgia's number 1. I don't know why. They're if we're just doing it by, Michigan. Michigan did win the title. I know they lost their whole staff, but if you're just going, I don't know. This is really, it's really useless. Let's just turn that off. It really is. What have we even do? What's that could change. It really don't even matter because it's not even important till probably like week 4 when games really start to matter. All right. Shout out to a great sponsor here. And turn this off, get it out of the way. I bet y'all appreciate that. Turkey Eye Clinic, J.R. and April McKenzie. Give them a call, make an appointment, 927-4030, or find them at turkeyeyeclinic.net. Find them on Facebook, too. Real easy to find, great people. And also, Mobley Concrete Construction. Find Jerry on Facebook and see the jobs that they do, and they do a good job. They do real big jobs, and then they'll do some small jobs too. Mobley Concrete Construction, LLC. Find them over there on Facebook, and you can call him, get a free estimate, 903-343-8581. If you've got a sidewalk to do, or if you've got a huge garage pad you need poured, call him. Let's let him give you a price. All you can do is say, okay, that's too high. He'll work with you. It's good people. Or if you need a sidewalk port, or if you need a pad port for your new AC unit outside, or whatever you got going on, good folks over there. And also, Warrior Gym. Find the Warrior in you. Call John 256-266-4333. Find them on Facebook, Warrior Gym and Tanning. Go over and sign up, man. I mean, it's never too late to get in there and just start moving around. I'm old and fat, and I got plenty of excuses, but I still try to go a couple of days a week. So go over and sign up and talk to John. Let's hit the comment section and see what's going on. Jeff Anderson, yo rascal, you just wait till Juju gets there. Yeah, it could be. The loss to Free Shoes knocked them out of the playoffs, probably. Notre Dame is media darling. They just are. Jackrabbits are a two-time defending FCS champs. Yep. And Angus Scott has their work cut out for them playing McCord. App State would love to be another giant killer. They have done it before. So don't discount App State. All right. That's the top 25 and kind of give you where your team's at and, where your opponents are. And, if y'all don't like the top 10 there, you can type it in on ESPN and hit the comment section, man. Put your top 10 in there. I love it. I don't care who you put. Whatever. I mean, everybody's got their own opinions, like belly buttons. Week 2 will be September 7th games. Texas Longhorns at Michigan. Probably on paper, I think a lot this game on paper, and paper don't mean nothing because the game's played on the field, kids. Don't ever remember that old Uncle Matt told you that. Texas is 6.5 point favor, okay? 11 o'clock game on Fox. The over-under on this game is 44.5. Now, Michigan has 16 straight wins. We mentioned that a while ago. Texas rolls out over Colorado State. Michigan has a lot of new offensive linemen, quarterback, and the staff, and they did not cover the points for Fresno State with that 20.5 favorite because they won 30-10. 2005, Texas won this last meeting they had, 38-37 in the Rose Bowl. Vince Young, quarterback, had 5 touchdowns. A field goal won the game for Texas. He also had rushing touchdown too. Had 192. Vince went crazy. So go back in 2005 Rose Bowl, and he was great. So who do y'all like in this game? Joey the Fish says Texas by a touchdown. Do we go along with that? I can go along with that. What do you think, Jeff? Texas does. Texas goes to the big house, and they should win. Yeah, I agree. 44.5 over under. I may take the over. I think I take the over. The host, Arkansas. The Oklahoma State Cowboys, bang, bang, shoot them up, going to play Arkansas, 11 o'clock on ABC. Oklahoma State is favored by 8.5 right now, the way it looked. Arkansas leads the series, though. 30 wins to 15 times they've lost to Oklahoma State. 1980, the score was 33-20 for Arkansas quarterback Tom Jones. Arkansas wins 70-0 last week over Arkansas Bluff. Arkansas State wins their game. Oklahoma State wins their game 44-20 over South Dakota. We talked about them. Gordon only had right at 100 yards rushing, and QB Bowman had 267 yards, 3 touchdowns. And wide receiver Strangling had over good bit over 100 yards. Arkansas's QB Green, 230 or 2 touchdowns. Jackson ran a ball for over 100 yards for Arkansas. And Tesla, the wide receiver, 53. The over-under for this game is 60. I don't know. We need to see Oklahoma State, see how their defense is going to play. How Coach Gundy teach me how to Gundy. We're going to see if he can figure out how to play some defense, and I don't think it's probably not going to take a whole lot to play a lot of defense against Arkansas. Probably not. Game 3, Troy is at Memphis. Memphis favored by 17 points. I want to mention them. We said Sunday during the show. I feel ashamed of myself that I don't mention, our teams up around there, Troy and JSU and whatnot. So they're going to go to Memphis. Memphis got a good football team, man. Quarterback Crowder, 20 passes for 200 yards. Ross had over 100 yards and a touchdown. Memphis has a 3-game streak going on right now. And Hignon, 308 yards. Running back Anderson had 2 touchdowns. Had 367 total yards on the day for their last game. Memphis did. But they lost to Nevada. But we did see Nevada play the week before. They're not a bad football team, man. They lost 26-28 in a good game, 291 total yards. They gave up 393, 215 rushing. They gave up. So Memphis over Troy, man, they got them picked by 2 touchdowns. I say they don't cover. I'll say they don't. Say Troy gets in there, fights with them a little bit. Ross, something he's going to have a pretty good game. Maybe Memphis gets them by 2 touchdowns, not 17. Game 4, Baylor at Utah. Baylor won their last game 45-3 versus Tarleton State. I tried to look them up. They had 442 total yards for the day. Baylor did. They're a pass-heavy team. Now, Utes won 49-0 versus South Utah, 513 total yards. Kim had 254, 5 touchdowns. Stanley had 3 receptions for over 150 and 2 touchdowns. And Kuithe had 3 touchdowns. And I think that'll be a good game. But I think Utah I think it'll be a good game early. That's what I should say. I need to say that better. I think Utah definitely takes care of business over Baylor. Game 5, Cal at the Auburn Tigers, 2:30 ESPN2. You get to see Auburn on TV, real TV this week. Cal went over USC Davis 31-12. Had this 12 straight that they've won over them. I would hope so. Auburn wins big, 73-3 over FCS Alabama A&M. Throw for 322, 4 touchdowns in the first half over to FCS A&M. Auburn 11.5 favorite, 52.5 and over and under on this game. Last year at Cal, Auburn won 14-10. Thrawn was 9 for 14 and 94 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Jackson had caught 14 for 27, 130, and then Quiz ran the ball for about 53 yards. Now, Cal running back Ott had 78 yards and a touchdown. Auburn had 94 passes, 136 rushing, 230 total, and then Cal was 160 passes, 113 rushing, 273 total. So what does that tell you? Auburn had 230 total offense, and Cal had 273 total. Auburn was 4 for 12 on third downs. That's important. And 0 for 1 on fourths. Had 3 fumbles lost. So that, 14-10 should have been. They scored on one of them. So Auburn should have won that game 28-3, really, or 28-7. That may be the score this year. We'll say 28 because I don't think Ott's going to play. They're Cal's running back. I think he's going to be out. Not sure on that, but I did read he had a ankle injury, and it didn't say, media's not going. They're not going to release if he's going to play or not. So I would look for Auburn to cover. They're favored by 11.5. I think they'll swing 2 touchdowns against Cal and get the win and roll on to who's Auburn got the third week? New Mexico, not New Mexico State. I think they got New Mexico. So they got 3 all at home, all their first 4s at home, all these easy games to get them in rhythm, get them some kind of something going, get them something shaking and baking. Thrawn's looking good, sitting back there in the pocket for 2 minutes, making a Spam sandwich and frying it, smoking him a cigarette against A&M's defense. So Cal's going to be a little better up front than A&M. I mean, they will. They're going to have some bigger guys, probably more depth. Game 6, if I look Auburn to cover, I think they beat them by 2 touchdowns. South Carolina is at Kentucky, 2:30. Kentucky's favored by 9, 2:30 on ABC. South Carolina over Old Dominion, 23-19. They struggle bust. bro, I mean, the bus pulled up and hit the air brakes and run all the air out of it and waited on South Carolina to get on the loser bus. Struggle bus was real. Kentucky over Southern Miss, 31-0. Vandergrift had for 173 touchdowns. The Seller at South Carolina was 10 for 13, had a 114. 2023, South Carolina 17 versus Kentucky's 14. Last year, South Carolina had 50 rushing and 9 penalties. So this year, Kentucky favored by 9. Well, I don't think that tailback play that we talk about so much come from Jeff. Did the tailback guy that transferred from Ohio State to Kentucky? I don't. His name's Tyrenius or something. It's got a kind of weird name. I don't know if he even played because I kind of looked down through the Russian stuff and I didn't see him. So if he don't play for Kentucky, they may make it. They may keep it a little closer. South Carolina may keep it closer. But it's at Kentucky, so will I go with the 9? If I'm betting, my life depends on it. Yes, I'll take the 9. I would. Just be honest. All right, Game 7, just got a few more games here. We're on 38 minutes. Perfect. I'd like to do about 40 minutes. I want to stay on here long. Stay a little long on the top 25. That's okay. We need to talk about that. Because everybody wants to see that. Everybody wants to see the top 25 where their team is. Game 7, JSU at Louisville. Louisville's favored by 4 touchdowns. JSU lost 55-27 over Coastal. They just can't match up, man. Huff had 173. Stewart had 62 and touchdown. Petaway, receiver, had 92. Louisville quarterback, Fry, we just talked about him, 232 and 4 touchdowns. Running back went way over 100. Had a receiver, almost had 100 yards. 62-0 win over Austin Peay. JSU will receive $1 million for this game, and it's the first time they played too. JSU has never played Louisville. JSU's a FBS team now. Do you take the points on this? Louisville's favored by 25. Chip, yeah, I see it. TR, let me put it up there. Train them. Louisville by, oh gosh, yeah, they made them beat them by 30. Jeff, I don't know. Now this is the tailback at Kentucky. We're talking about here. He's played. He didn't play. Okay, he didn't play last week. He's second starting it from until Henderson was. Yeah, I think he was great. He played at Ohio State when Henderson was hurt. Kentucky's got them a running back, man. Story kid that was there last year at come from Vanderbilt, had a great story, and what a great tale he had to talk about. Moved around all over the place, had a real rough life, but I'll say Kentucky covers on that. But JSU and at Louisville, first meeting ever, they're going to get $1 million, and it was reportedly said, not for sure, but I read somewhere this morning that Coach Rich Rod said supposedly something about, and you see stuff that people so-and-so said, Coach DeBoer said that he couldn't, wait to play Georgia. He's ready to hang 40 on them. You see stuff like that, and it's not true. He would never say that. But Coach Rich Rod apparently said that he would play Alabama for, if they'd give him, $5 million, they'd beat our brains in for $5 million. Coach Rich Rod is old school, and I could probably see him saying something like that, but man, y'all get out of your feelings. That's for cheerleaders. Guys, we're talking about playing football, and he's being funny. Of course, he don't want his kids to get their brains literally knocked in. Do you really think he would say they want their brains to be beat in? Like he's going to lose all his team for $5 million? Boy, we could add that sweet on up there. We're needing that money for. He's being funny. So all you crazy left crazy, just calm down. He's just kind of being funny there. It's being facetious. Look that word up. Okay. So first meeting ever, JSU, 25 points to JSU. Does Louisville only win by 21? It's at Louisville. I think they cover. JSU's really not. I'm going to see how they respond. Okay, I want to see how my Gamecocks, my school, when I graduated from, I want to see how they bounce back from a bad loss to Coastal. Coastal's got players, man. They got some dudes. Louisville does too. Okay. That quarterback just threw for 4 touchdowns, 230-something yards. Okay. And they just beat the crap out of Austin Peay, which is who Jacksonville. When I was at Jacksonville, we were on that national championship run. We went and played North Dakota State that year. The year I graduated there, I was in that class. They had a team, and I remember playing Austin Peay for homecoming because we went to the game. I'd take Marcus, and we beat them. It's 30-0 at halftime. So I'm going to say no. Sorry, JSU. If I don't know. All right, 3:15 on SEC Network, Game 8, Middle Tennessee and Ole Miss. We mentioned that a while ago. Ole Miss is – take a guess what they're favored by. Jeff, what do you think? What do you think Ole Miss is favored by over Middle Tennessee? They won last week versus Tennessee Tech, 32-25. Middle Tennessee is not a bad football team, guys. They're a quality team. They're a quality school. Any young guys that want to leave around high school here and pull up at Middle Tennessee, and you better be ready to play football. Okay, this is not a real small school. They're a proud program. Okay, you got to be pretty good to play. Okay, as far as talking about a while ago, Slade Alexander from here local, coached, been around him. He played football with us 1 year, A team, left-handed, coached against him in basketball, and he's an athlete. He was so good at basketball too. He's just fast with the ball, pretty good baseball player. He can just kind of do about anything. And I hope he gets to play, and shout out Slade. I hope you're doing great. QB Vieto had 210 yards, 40 points. Jeff, 40. Ole Miss is favored by 40 over Middle Tennessee. Are they going to beat them 50-0? 3:15 on SEC Network. I don't know. Lane, I don't know. He may call the dogs off once they get up, 40 on them. We'll see. They're going to come there and get after Ole Miss. I promise you. Listen, these teams, some of these schools like this, the first quarter, they'll fool around and play with Ole Miss for a little while. But the depth for the SEC, and then their linemen, they're going to wear their defensive line down. And Middle Tennessee is going to come in and play hard. I guess they probably cover Ole Miss by 52. I don't know. 40 by half. It don't matter if it's on a mission to win. In the bookends. All right, number 9 game. We got just a few more here. UTSA and Texas State. I had to write this one down because the spread, man, the spread on this game is 2.5. If you just like football like me, I like football. Okay, at 3:00 on ESPNU, it's gonna be right in the middle of the day. So after you done eat ribs and you've passed out and you got your homemade street corn sprinkled all over your shirt and your feet up and your tea glass is knocked over and dogs licking up tea out of the floor. 3:00, ESPNU, turn it over there. Texas State Bobcats are a quality football team. UTSA, man, they're good. This is going to be it's a 2-point favored by Texas State. QB McLeod threw for 238 yards. Mahdi had 156 yards rushing, and UTSA, their quarterback, McCown, he threw for 350 yards last week and 3 touchdowns. So it's a 2-point game. So Vegas likes Texas State by just a little. So those are the kind of games you can click over there too and watch, and be a good midday game. Game 10, Bama's going to host UCF. Just a note of that. It's going to be on at 6 on ESPN. UCF quarterback Brown had 152, had a long 42-yard run, so be watching for him to take off around the ball. And Joyner, their running back, and receiver Yassine, those are guys to keep an eye on. Bama's favored by 27.5. I think it could be that. It won't be quite as bad as last week because UCF, they got some speed. Okay, they got a lot of speed out here on this team, a lot of speed. So that game, Alabama will play USF at 6 on ESPN. Number 11 game, Chattanooga's going to be at Georgia State. Like this game. It's going to be a good game. It'll be on also at 6 o'clock, so probably nobody's going to watch it. But in commercials, if you got your phone out and you got ESPN Plus, and you like small school football, and I do, Chattanooga's going to be at Georgia State. I'll take these things off. I ain't got my music done. This is going to be a good game. Next game here, Georgia Southern's going to be at Nevada. Now, Georgia Southern is 0-1. QB French had thrown for 322 yards, but they lost to Boise. Well, I told you a while ago, Boise had won a game 56-45. So they scored 45 points on a pretty good Boise team. So this Georgia Southern, that's another one of those teams, man. They're like Georgia State. They'll hang around and they'll be that old flying oatmeal you just can't get rid of. But Nevada's good, man. That quarterback Lewis, he threw 4 touchdowns last week. And Red, if you got a tailback named Red, he's had 165 yards. Quarterback throw for about 300. Keep an eye on that game. UAB at Louisiana Monroe, also at 6 o'clock. So if you want to watch UAB, if you are UAB fans, right here's your spot. They're going to be down there at Louisiana. Quarterback Zeno, 200 yards. Team rushed for 300 yards last week. Had to win 41-3 over Alcorn State. Now Monroe quarterback Boutte, so he threw for 100 yards, had some rushing yards, and they won 30-14 over Jackson State. Coach Prime's past team. So I like these little games here. This is middle of the day stuff, and I know Bama's going to get all the attention, but if you like these other games and if you just don't want to watch Alabama, UAB's on, they got Monroe. Georgia Southern's on, they got Nevada, and Chattanooga's on, playing Georgia State. Now, this is probably the biggest game of the day. Big game. It's going to be the big noon game, 11 o'clock. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not. That's Michigan and Texas. This game is going to be later that day. It's going to be probably what a lot of people will switch over to after Bama gives USF about. They go up like 30-0. Big game. Tennessee at North Carolina State. I know. Nico had 314 with 300-something yards and 3 touchdowns. Sampson had rushed for over 100 yards. He's really come on. We knew he's going to be a good back. He's got great vision to see the ball. They did have a punt block for 6. They had over 400 yards passing, over 300 yards rushing over Chattanooga, 69-3. Tennessee's favored by 7.5. 88% chance to win on North Carolina State. Now, McCall, he also had over 300 yards. And Waters, their tailback, showed you a picture of him, 123 yards. And they're dangerous. Concepcion, we talked about him a while ago. He had 3 touchdowns and over 100 yards. ABC, 630. Tennessee's favored by a touchdown. I'll tell you this, and we'll move through this last one or two. If North Carolina State comes out slow, kind of like they did this weekend, and fiddle around and, dink and dunk plays and throw the ball in the dirt and have to punt the ball early, Tennessee will beat them. Tennessee will hang about 30 on them, and they'll get out of there, and they'll win the game by a touchdown or 10. So, but if North Carolina State comes out hot, and McCall starts throwing and Waters starts jumping stuff, and if Tennessee's not completely healthy, and I think I read somewhere that one of their guys was hurt, one of their defensive guys, I don't know if it was the Pierce guy or I have to go back and look again. That could be a little bit of trouble. I don't think it will. I'm not going to pick the upset, but don't be surprised if Wolfpack plays the Vols a good game. In this game here, I'd watched the replay a while ago, just kind of piddling around. I've been gone all day long. I just walked in the house, just try to clean up some and get in here. Been out here at practice, Cherokee County, and took Keyshawn as player of the week. Congratulations again, Keyshawn Woods, on Big Diamond Player of the Week. Colorado at Nebraska. Last meeting, Bus won 36-14. I'm tell you right now, you go ahead and circle that and put a little check. That's not going to be the score this year. Dylan Ravioli is going to answer some questions. Colorado's just not. I don't think they have the depth to play with some of these bigger schools. Now I know they had 455 yards, and Nebraska had 341 last year and 400 passing, 58 rushing. Nebraska's favored by 7.5 this year. The over and under is 58.5. I'll take the under. Nebraska beat UT at 40-7, and Rayola's 240, 2 touchdowns, 87% QBR. Nair was 120 on a touchdown, had 223 rushing. Now, North Dakota State game for Colorado, 31-26, North Dakota State. Sanders had 445 yards. Horn had 200 receiving, 4 touchdowns, and he was 99%, 94% on his passing. But the same thing, by the way, it's 6:30 on NBC, Colorado at Nebraska. You know why Florida State lost the game? Same thing. They had 60 yards rushing. I think Florida State had, what did they have, 60 yards rushing? You still got to run the football. I know, young people. Y'all ready for the, let's get fired up and let's throw the ball for 500 yards a game. And Shedeur rose out of the pocket and almost cost him the darn game. The clock gets stopped. He should have run the stinking ball to run the clock out. But he decides to pull up and roll out there and throw a 50-yard bomb down the side up there so he could have 500 yards. They would have a total 600 yards of offense. Just run the ball. That. And I don't know. I didn't hear in the press conference if they asked Deion, like, well, Coach Sanders, did you call that play for, to throw the ball? He said, I seen Shedeur said, that's my fault, and I got to learn from that and be a man and take responsibility. I should just run the ball. Seeing that look like he's going to be open, so I throw it in the ball. That's a bad decision. 6:30 NBC. I like Nebraska to beat Colorado this week. I don't think Colorado's deep enough. They got some good players, Horn, Hunter, both the Sanders boys. It's left tackle. They got a big guy in. Hey, Coach Short. If Colorado wins this stupid game, I'm going to look like an idiot. I look like an idiot since I've been born. I guess, I think the luck's just it's going to run out. It is. They just ain't got all the players, and he's trying to build the team. There's a lot of people hate Deion, and probably all you on the comment sections probably don't. What's up, JB? Nebraska by 2. Yeah, they're favored by a touchdown. Vegas is usually right. It may be a close game at halftime, but give me Nebraska. I'll take them. And they got good players, man. And, we wish them all luck in the world. And last but not least, I had to mention them, try to go through a lot of the SEC teams. Late night game, because it's going to be some West Coast at Arizona State. Mississippi State Bulldogs going to play late. And, of course, that'll be a late night game you probably watch when you fall asleep and you wake up. May check that out a little bit. I hadn't seen Mississippi State play just some highlights, so I may run through there and check that out late after the Bama games and some of these other games here after Nebraska. Georgia's going to play Tennessee Tech at 1. And then Georgia's going to have Kentucky next week. And they're going to have Alabama on the 28th. So things are ramping up. Man, hope y'all had a good time today. Hope I've entertained you a little bit. Locker Room Sports Extra, College Edition. And Thursday night, if you love high school football, come back right here, about 6 o'clock. I try to go on a little before 6 because Starkey and them go on Average Joe's at about 6:30. So I'll probably try to get on it. Might try to get on at 5:30. There's a lot of region games coming this weekend for high school. So if you're interested in that, come back Thursday. I'll put it up, probably fool with it tomorrow some. I got a bunch of stuff to do in the morning. So y'all come back Thursday, 5:30 or so. It'll be up on the page. Give you time to be back. And we'll talk some high school then. But far as this weekend, most of the SEC teams, the trifecta, Georgia, Auburn, Bama, I think they all win this weekend. But it's fixing to get tough. We're fixing to see what's going to happen. So thank y'all for coming by and hanging out. We're going to get off here and prop my old feet up. Y'all have a fantastic day. God bless you. And keep your heads clear and your hearts full of God. And we'll see y'all Thursday for high school roundup for the weekend. A lot of region games. All right. Appreciate it.